Welcome to the Founders Lounge, where business meets bullshit and everything in between.
Now we got 4 cameras.
This is big time. Every
awesome.
episode, we're going to add one more camera.
Just keep it going. Just keep
Make
building on
Jamie's
it.
life a living hell for editing. Yeah.
Did you get any of that camera lingo that he just gave?
No,
Me neither.
there's 4 cameras. I thought there was only 3, but yeah.
We've only ever shot it with 3, I think. There's a 4th somehow.
Well, welcome back to the Founders Lounge, guys. Got a special guest today. Good friend of mine, Mr. Zakk. I always mispronounce your name.
Plocica.
Plocica.
Nobody gets it, man. Nobody.
I'm like Plocica.
It was hell in school, I can assure you.
How you doing, man? Thank you for making the drive down here. I know that's a haul for you.
Dude, so it was this morning only because I had to go to Cape Carteret. So I went to Cape Carteret this morning, had to drop my son off, and then I rolled here and it rained and then traffic. So, Wilmington, a blessing.
Awesome. Well, what I want to get into today, I mean, obviously, Founders Lounge, I like to talk about people's businesses a lot. And you own probably one of the most unique businesses in Southeast North Carolina, as far as I'm concerned, especially in the outdoor space. But Extreme Outfitters.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Dude, it's been an undertaking. I come from no background when it comes to business. And we learned very quickly how hard business really is. We get asked, what's the hardest part of business? What's the hardest part of the thing you do? And I'm like, is that a trick question? Because I don't think there's an easy, you know better than anybody. There's no easy aspect of it. But it's been good, man. It's just, like I said, it's a family run business. Me, I'm kind of the front man for the whole thing. My parents own the actual company. And then we've got a really great team. And it's been good, man. I mean, I feel like these last couple of years are starting to hit our stride.
Yeah.
And it feels good. We're still not, it's still a struggle, but it feels like we're making headway.
So Extreme Outfitters, the way when I get asked, like your focus is bows, archery, right? Would you say that or?
It is. So the company was not founded on that, right? So I implemented that change like 7 years ago. So our brand is built around military and law enforcement. That's what the company was stood up around. We're right outside of Camp Lejeune. And, it started we were actually in Jacksonville in 2001 is whenever we started. And as things have kind of transitioned, the internet became a major player in business. That was a huge, transition for us. And the business kind of evolved. And, things change, the economy changes, the war has changed. We came in at the height of OIF, OEF. And, since then things have evolved. And I started the archery side of things 7 years ago, I believe is where we're at. And that has really boomed and really been the center of our business. And I would say it's probably 70% of what we do at this point. And it's been good. It's been awesome. It's really honestly revived our brand.
So one of the cool things that you've told me this a million times, you guys didn't start the business. You bought it. And you joked with me a million times. You're like, dude, we bought this thing. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We had no clue what we were doing. We just bought a business.
That's ballsy. That's ballsy.
I love it.
Well, knowing what I know now, we never would have done that because that's exactly what we did, right? So it was important to us that we kept this thing alive and we bought it saying it's a business. It's up and running. Bro, a business does not continue to just run.
Just exist.
Yeah. It doesn't. And the way businesses, operate now, they evolve. It seems like faster and faster, and you've got to be everywhere all the time. And that's exactly what we did. We bought this business and we're like, all right, let's make money. We made no money. We owed lots of money.
Yep.
And the business, when I say tanked, I was writing my resume and we were getting ready to file bankruptcy. My parents, all of our land, all of our homes were put into this business. And it was dead. It was done, dead in the water.
So did you take on debt when you bought it?
Oh yeah. Yes, we took on, so we bought the assets of the company, right? So we started Extreme Holdings LLC, and the DBA was Extreme Outfitters. So we bought the assets of the company,
Sure.
but we assumed everything. And we didn't know what we were buying, what we were doing. We just bought the stuff. We were going to operate in the same location that we were in. Things were going to be great. They were not great by any means.
Was that 01? Did the Extreme Outfitters start in 01 and then you came in later? Or?
So the business actually originated in Virginia Beach in 97 between two owners. It moved to Jacksonville, North Carolina in 01. The original owners parted ways and we continued Extreme Outfitters. So we fully took over. My family took over the business in, I don't even remember the year now. 2014, maybe, I want to say is the time frame that we took it over after the original owner, who was a really good friend of ours, suddenly passed away. We were like, we got to keep this thing going. He had no will. It was just a huge nightmare, especially for my mom doing all the paperwork and the legal side of things. And we went all in. We bought this thing, and that was it.
So that you might have answered my next question. So what was that conversation like when you and your family sitting there and you're like, okay, we're going to buy this business. Was there a plan?
No, that's listen, when I tell you we were flying by the seat of our pants, that's exactly what we were doing. My parents are very, very, they're fantastic people. And we had a really great team within this company. And when things changed, the business was just going to go away and everyone was going to lose their job. Our mission was to keep everybody employed, right? And you can't operate a business on hopes and dreams, and it just doesn't work that way. And we found that out quickly. I mean, it was just dead. We couldn't pay the salaries. We didn't know how to market. We didn't know how to run business. I mean, it was a nightmare, to say the least.
I'm smiling because coming from a family business, my father and mother started, I won't get into detail, but they started a business long before I had our agency. And they were good people. And I love how you said it, because you're right. There was this kind of whimsy of like, we got to do it for the team. But that doesn't mean it's going to just happen, right? And I remember those years. And brother, it's awesome to have you here to be able to talk about it, because a lot of businesses succumb to it. The passion isn't enough to keep it open.
100%. But I honestly believe passion is what has continued to drive our business forward.
It's a differentiator. Yeah.
It really is. And, the big thing for me was, my dad has worked his entire life in the Marine Corps, retired out of the Marine Corps, continues to work as GS position on base. And our property and everything were tied up in it. And if that goes away, everything my family has worked for is gone.
It's your identity, man. Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah. And, I was writing my resume and, I didn't know what I was going to do, but, I was still young. I mean, I could do whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I could essentially pick up and move and start something and be okay. But my family was constantly on my mind. And, I'm sitting there writing this resume. I don't even know how to write a resume. This was before ChatGPT.
Yeah, before AI wrote it for you. Yeah.
AI did everything for you. And I'm writing this resume. And I had a lot of experience, right? I've been all over. I've done all these things within this business. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, there's no way that this can fail. We can't allow it. The only reason a business is going to fail is because we allow it to fail. We've given up. And there's no way I'm going to give up on this thing, especially my family, right? I want to keep driving this thing home. There's got to be opportunity in it. I know there's opportunity in it. It's a killer business.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I love it. And I sat back and I just idea after idea after idea. And I think that's what a lot of business is, right? Just coming up with new ideas, throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks, at least was for me. And that's what happened. And I was looking at, like, I don't even remember all the ideas, but I have a notebook full of just ideas at the time. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And this is stupid.
It's a new day.
This is a terrible idea. Lots of them. And finally I saw this opportunity with the archery side of things. I'm like, man, I enjoy bow hunting. I'm like, there's nothing like it here. And when I got into this, into the archery side of things, I was not introduced in a way that I think somebody getting into this sport or this hobby should have been introduced, right? There was a lot of missing pieces. And I was like, man, if I could fill those gaps, bridge those gaps, I think we're on to something. And the cool thing about the archery side of things was the terms that came along with the buying, right? So I get 9-1 terms. I've got almost a year to pay for this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
give me a year, I can sell it. I know we can turn this over. I know we can recoup the money, and then we can put it back in the business and make something happen. But I wasn't in a position where I had much leverage to get in with these brands because we didn't sell archery. So they're like, who are you?
The new kid. Yeah.
Why am I going to, give you, a $50,000 line of credit or $100,000 line of credit to sell our bows? So I kind of finagled my way in there. I brought a guy in who had worked at another shop. His name's Cody Griffin. Fantastic
Awesome
guy.
dude.
Cody's awesome. He's over actually at Easton in Salt Lake City now. So he started with us and he's kind of transitioned and moved up in the world doing big things. But I brought him on board. He was my first guy and he had some connections within the archery. I'm like, listen, Cody, we've got to get some brands in here and we got to leverage them against each other. I'm like, we're already talking to Hoyt. We're talking to PSE. Let's tell them Hoyt's already committed to us.
We'll just flat out lie.
I mean,
it wouldn't be the first time.
Verbal commitments.
They were on the fence, but they weren't 100% gonna let us come on board. Yeah. But we said that, and then PSE was like, "Well, if they're letting you come on board, we want to be on board." PSE was the first brand in my shop.
That's great.
So, and from there, it just kind of snowballed, and I kind of used them against them. I'm like, hey, they're going to be in here. There's nowhere else. We're going to be the shop. And I really built this thing up like Extreme Outfitters is going to be big. I didn't know if it was or not, man. It was, I had before we even had the bows come in, we built a range. One weekend, I had a bunch of my dudes, my buddies that were Marines. I was like, hey guys,
the indoor range in the shop.
The indoor range in the shop, 30-yard indoor range. Bunch of my buddies. I'm like, hey, beer and pizza guys, we're going to build a range in the shop. There's no archery range in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Let's start there. We built it in a weekend. We built the backstop out of trash from roses. So they would take and stack all their cardboard boxes. We put them as a backstop, covered them with carpet, and that was our backstop for our range. And that was the start. And then we had the PSE bows come in. And then we started using that, kind of leveraging that to get the other brands in. And it slowly started to build. And I couldn't have done it without Cody. One, he believed in the mission. He believed in, what I was presenting to him. He was, all in 100%. And then he committed everything. And if you know Cody, Cody's a talker. Cody can sell anything. Incredible. He can relate to anybody. He can talk and sell. And man, he did, man. He brought me up to speed with him. And dude, it's been wide open ever since.
He can, man. He's the one that sold me and got me into it. Because I remember when I went to go buy mine, I owned a bow years ago, back before we moved to North Carolina. Never really got into it. It just really wasn't my thing. It didn't, I don't know, something didn't click with me. And then when I bought our farm, I'm like, man, I'm going to go get another bow. Mm. And I went to a place here in town. They were great folks, but it wasn't like, I don't know, it just wasn't connecting for me. And so I drove up to your shop, met Cody, and I was just like, look, dude, I am dumber than dog shit on this stuff. I know nothing. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, here's my budget. Tell me all the things. And, I mean, no shit. I think he spent 6 hours with me that day.
That's
I took
amazing.
the whole day off and went up there. And I think I shot maybe 8 bows that day.
Whatever we had.
And he ran through all the, all the basic fundamental stuff, which, I mean, to me, when I think of your brand, that's what I think of is the customer service aspect that you guys have. I've never seen anything like that.
So from the beginning, whenever I came into this business as a kid, the original owner prioritized customer service. Like that's what he did. And he kind of honestly instilled that in me. And, my parents too, always be polite, always, give as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to you, right? And if you ask any of my guys, the first thing when I go through an interview with these guys is I don't care how talented of a tech you are. I can teach you any of that. The one thing that we cannot teach you is personality. You can't. And then customer service. Customer service is the foundation of our brand. And I honestly consider that the reason why we're still in business. I mean, we go above and beyond. And do we always get it right? No, right? We're all human. My guys there are human. We make mistakes, but it is at the core of our business. It is everything to us. And without good, you look around. I mean, go to a store now and interact with the people within the store. It's typically not a pleasant or fantastic, and they're not going out of their way to serve you. It's a service-based business. We're retail. We provide services to everyone that walks into our that takes the time to walk into our business and then spend their hard-earned money with us. And without them, we don't have a business. So customer service should be at the priority of every business. That's what we do. And without it, you have a dead business.
And it's the difference between shopping online and being in the moment at a place that you know the dude and they're going to work through it with you. You nailed it, man. And we have that discussion so many times. Like, you can have a great concept and you can have great marketing. It's dead at the door.
Absolutely.
If you've got an asshole that's handling that final part of the relationship. That's just, and it's not a soft skill anymore.
You
It
have
used
another
to be,
cool
yeah.
aspect that the only way I can describe it is cheers. Like, every time I go up
They
to
know,
this
yeah.
shop, there's 2 or 3 guys sitting at the bar just hanging out. They're just hanging out there, and I'm like, this is fucking cool.
Well, I
Like-
was going to ask you, because when you went, you were like, "Hey, man, I don't know anything about this. This is my budget." Do you get that a lot? Like, where you're introducing folks within the outdoor community to archery and like
100%. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of our business, right? So we're in a unique location. We're right outside of Camp Lejeune, like a mile or 2 miles from the main gate. So it's a very transient area.
Yeah.
So we got new dudes, new women in all the time that are moving in. There's a lot of guys, yes, that have a background in archery, but we introduce a lot of people to the archery world. We kind of are the archery community in our area, right? There's not a lot around us. So we do everything we can to keep that community alive, right? By offering all of our events and stuff. But yeah, we get a ton of people that come in that are first time, that have never shot a bow, and they're like, I know nothing. Teach me.
That's
I
cool.
want to get into this. And that's where my guys are really, really good, right? So I've got a guy named JR. He's kind of like my right-hand man. Fantastic individual.
Awesome dude.
He is just a true passion for archery, and is a very, very good at teaching and bringing people on. That's the great thing about him. Him, Cody, the other Zakk we've got a handful of great individuals that are very talented and very welcoming. And our goal is not necessarily to, right, we're in business, right? We have to sell, but is to provide the experience and educate everybody that walks through the door, so that if they really want to get into it, they're making an informed decision. They're leaving comfortable and confident with their equipment, or they're going home to do their research and come back and make an informed decision, right? Because we base everything on, application. What do they want to do? How involved in the sport do they expect to get? How into their hobbies are they? Because the archery world, as you know, can be expensive, right? You can walk out, you can spend $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 on a full build out, or you can get into it for a couple $100 just to enjoy.
Try it out first.
Out and then evolve. So we're big on that, man. I mean, educating the people. If you look at what my brand does, Extreme Outfitters as a whole, I've always wanted to be more than a retail store, right? I wanted to be an education hub. One thing I never wanted to do is this. I never wanted to be a content guy, right? I never wanted to be behind a camera. I never wanted to write articles. It just was never in my wheelhouse when I thought business. But business has evolved, and you have to be a content.
Well, I think the stuff you guys are doing on YouTube, it is very valuable for your business.
It's the most valuable thing
I
I've
watch
ever
it all
done.
the damn time.
Dude, I mean, we try really hard. And I've got a fantastic media guy, Joey. Incredible, right? I can come up with ideas, but I can't necessarily bring them to life visually. And he does a fantastic job of that. We just got back from Total Archery Challenge in Tennessee, and we just got a video that's getting ready to release this Sunday, and he brought it to life. He does such a good job. But the content we put out is to educate the end user and provide that value. So I wanted to be a hub to where people could come in, they could buy the equipment they wanted, they could use the equipment that they bought, and then they can become educated on everything. So we put out articles every week. We write, I write scripts, outlines, videos, and we put this stuff out constantly. We've got podcasts, multiple podcasts, all these things just to inform people and honestly spread the word of archery
Yeah.
and bow hunting, man. Cause to me, it's incredible. It's my life. I love it. And the guys that are part of it, man, love it. And the community is incredible. It's a very welcoming community. So it's important to us that we represent our brands well, push that content out, and, make it fun, because
Absolutely.
archery's fun, man.
What about the other revenue streams? So you guys have, Extreme Outfitters isn't just a bow shop.
Yep.
That's when I think of it, most people think of it.
That's your
it's a bow
experience
shop.
with them. Yeah.
Yep.
But you do so much other stuff in there too.
Yeah, man. We do a lot. We have a very good e-commerce business for the brand, which funny, I'm getting ready to redo that, which is kind of got me a little stressed out.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
nightmare.
right, Extreme Outfitters is archery, but Extreme Outfitters is also outdoor tactical and hunting. So we've got we're in a weird niches, and they don't necessarily cross over. So putting that out there is kind of difficult right now with the website that we're on. So I'm in the process of changing that up. We're looking at going to some different platforms and potentially dividing our brand in half e-commerce wise, right? So I'm going to probably split these our product lines in half and honestly have two websites, because visually and whatnot, we don't have a presence like an REI or Cabela's, right? Where I have the revenue to build out this entity. We have to kind of separate it so we can be very strategic in how we market. And the marketing is two completely different different audiences, right? The guy that's deploying overseas is not necessarily the bow hunter, right? And they are very unique and very different. So we're dividing that up. And honestly, our biggest revenue stream right now is our brick and mortar store. We get people from all over the country that come and visit us as like a destination. And the revenue that comes through there is greater than our e-commerce. But my goal is to make that shift, right? Because e-commerce, you have the ability to touch the world.
Yeah.
And if done correctly. It's a saturated market. It's a difficult market. It's an expensive market because everybody's competing. You're competing with the Amazons, the eBays, the Walmarts, all of these massive competitors that do have their foot in what we do. But we're able to come at it at a little bit different approach with our personalities.
I was going to say that goes back to the YouTube stuff. So
It's huge.
there's a saying that you can't out Amazon.
Can't.
You can't, but you can put a personal touch that they can't do.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's actually humans behind the product and the service deliverables.
And that, and that's what's big for us, right? And that's why our YouTube channel is so important for us, right? My personality, my guys' personalities, we're all unique. We're all different. I talk more than most of them, if you can't tell.
You're good, man.
And it allows us to touch and interact with people from across the country that don't necessarily have a good bow shop. They don't have somewhere where they can take their equipment. And, if there's one thing I've learned, friends like buying from friends. I become friends with all of these people. They don't necessarily know me on a personal level, but I can assure you, I do my best to respond to all of our DMs. That's me behind that, doing that, responding to comments, responding to messages. And then with a new kind of approach I'm taking is my personal brand. It's because people, our Extreme Outfitters brand is awesome, but people for some reason want to know me and the guys behind the shop even bigger. So I have to kind of open that door too. And one of my missions has been this year is we're doing a lot of what's called the Total Archery Challenge events. And we're traveling and, up and down the East Coast, and we're actually able to go out and meet these people in person by setting up booths, shooting with them and interacting with them. And it's really funny, man, because, I'm at Walmart in a town I've never been to. I'm at a restaurant in a place I've never been. And they're like, "Hey, Zakk, it's great to meet you." And I'm like, can I take a picture with you?
Oh,
and,
wow.
It's really humbling because at the end of the day, I'm just a dude with a camera that, anybody, you put anybody can be on the internet, but it's humbling to have these people come and say, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. We love what you're doing. It's super nice to meet you." I had these 3 kids, man, that came. It's the highlight of my event in Tennessee. These 3 kids come up. They're from Georgia. They're like, their dad is like, "Hey, these guys want to meet you." I'm like, cool. They're like, and they're nervous, right? They're these little dudes. They've got their bows. They come in, we're high-fiving, talking, and they just wanted to meet us, and they had seen us from YouTube. And that right there is important to me, man. I see
Very
that.
important.
I see that, and I'm like, man, we're making an impact. As much as I see our struggle, I'm like, dude, we're making an impact. We're moving the needle. We're able to help these people that don't necessarily have access to what we've created. So it's cool, man. It's a blast, and it's unique.
Her and I get that a lot with clean eats,
Dude, I can
especially
only
in
imagine.
airports.
Yeah, I
don't know
remember
why, but it
remember
happens the
Vaughn
most in
saying that.
airports.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm not big on flying. So
I'm becoming less big on flying these days too. It's
I can only imagine on your level because our scale is significantly smaller and our community is the archery community is, I was talking to one of the guys that owns a big company in the archery world, and he was putting together some numbers for me, and we were looking at just how big the archery world is versus the gun world. Dude, the archery world is a 100th of that, which is a fraction of it. And it's wild, man.
So you never thought about getting into guns in the shop? I think I've asked you that a few
Well,
times.
so all my buddies own gun shops around us.
that would be a tough market, I think, to
It would
try to break into now with.
It would, but I also believe there's opportunity in it. But right now, I mean, if I had an extra bajillion dollars, just some extra money, in my
Just
pocket,
shit money. Yeah.
just that I want to throw out and try it, I
Yeah.
would. But we've still got such a long ways to go within the industries that we're currently in. It just doesn't make sense, man. The guys around me that are doing it are crushing it. They're great guys. It just wouldn't make sense for me to get into it. And we still got a long ways to go on the outdoor and tactical side of things. So we're not there yet.
No, I think it makes sense. I think it makes total sense. We do that a lot in our business where we're like, well, what if we tapped in our supplement line? Perfect
Supplements,
example.
yeah, for you guys.
When we decided to roll out our own protein and some of our own stuff, it was very important to me. I didn't want to do performance-based products.
Right.
I'm like, that's not our customer base. We're not known for that. There's plenty of other guys out there that do that very well, and I don't want any part of it. But what we can do very well is market different types of products to our customers that are going to want that. And that's what we did.
Right. Yeah. I can only imagine for you guys too, because you're at such a big level, right? On the chain side of things, distribution and then chain. And then I look at it, I kind of watch what you guys do, and I'm like, okay, they've got 100+ locations opened up. How do you introduce a new meal to that? Like, it's not like you can just like for me, I can take.
Where do you start?
Yeah,
Where do you want to start? Yeah.
Because I'm one location. I can try something, throw it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that didn't work. Retract it. Let's start again.
I'll be honest with you, man. You enjoy it now while you can.
Yeah.
Because her and I talk about that. I can't even count how many times that conversation gets brought up. We love where our business is now, right? And obviously we're continuing to grow. It's great. But her and I's mindset is just like yours. We're always wanting to evolve and experiment with things. And we've reached a point now where you can't do that. And he's a big part of anything we implement. They're a big part of it. His agency is a big part of it. And it used to be, hey, we got this idea. Let's go fucking try this. Let's try this meal. Let's see how it works.
Yeah.
To do that now is such a long, drawn out process. I almost want to say it kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit.
The
It's just
scalability.
like, man, like to do an LTO on a meal now is kind of easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the direction that we have to go now at the size that we are.
Yeah, that's hard for me to fathom, right? Because obviously my goal is I want scalability, I want growth. And it's coming, right? I can see we're moving in the right direction. It's never as fast as you want it to be, right? Because I mean, I've been doing this for like
never as fast. Even from
forever.
a service provider, I'm in the same boat. We want to take on new service lines for content development. 6 months, bullshit.
Yeah.
try 6 years and you're finally starting to get the hang of it.
Right. And you're just
Yeah.
starting to see the needle
Yeah,
move, and you're like-
exactly.
but I think that's the thing that's, everybody wants to start a business or be a business or run their own business, and which I think is fantastic, right? It gives you freedoms in ways that you wouldn't have elsewhere if you had
True.
to go do that 9-to-5 grind. But it's not a 9-to-5 grind. It's a 24/7, 365 grind with everything your entire life. Like I look at my wife, right? And she's smoke show. She's awesome, dude. Just an incredible woman. She makes sure our house runs while I'm constantly on the go working. And she's like, when am I going to be the trophy wife that doesn't have to work? I'm like, I'm working on it. Trust me. We'll get there one day. I don't know when, but that's one of my driving things.
She does crack me up, man. I don't know your wife well, but I follow her on social media, and she put out a video the other day about bed sheets or something. Man, I was cracking the fuck up at this video. Something about a house being lived in. I don't remember what it was, but it was funny.
Oh, dude, yeah. So we got 3 boys, right? So, and we're 100 miles an hour. They're all in sports. They're all doing something. And dude, she is the lifeline, man. She keeps us in check. She makes sure things happen.
She's the rock.
She's the rock, man.
Yeah, you need that.
Dude,
Yeah.
I could not do what I do and operate at the same level without her. Like it wouldn't happen.
That's awesome.
So let's go a little bit of a different direction here, because you and I have this in common, and it kind of plays into the business aspect of it. You come from a weightlifting background. You did powerlifting for God knows how long, and I came from a bodybuilding background. How does that play into your business? Like, so with Clean Eats, obviously we're kind of healthy food, right? And everybody that comes in, they still want to talk about weightlifting and bodybuilding, and it's great. I enjoy it, but it's different for me now. You know what I mean? Do you ever get that?
Oh, so hilarious. Like I always had a fear of being on camera. It was just something I never wanted to do, because as soon as you put yourself out there for everyone to pick you apart.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a necessity for business. I've spent my entire life in the fitness world at some capacity, right? So I raced motocross at a high level. I've competed in bodybuilding. I've done powerlifting, done very well at a high level. And then I've done the endurance sports. So I have always done something. Fitness has been important to me my whole life. And I think should be important for most people. And it's funny because I like to maintain what I consider a halfway decent physique. It's just important. One, so because my wife is hot, I want her to continue to hopefully
impress her
and impress her, right? But also, it's funny because we put out these videos, and one of the first thing that I get hammered on is my physique. And it's weird.
Really?
Dude, if you go look at some of my videos.
Like people picking you apart?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, like the comment, like I get hammered in the comment. It's funny, right? But it also makes you think, it's like, damn, like
I'm more than this.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, there's more to me than this.
Of all things you could judge me on.
You can
seriously.
judge me on that. I built this business that I think is awesome. We employ the local community. We pay these salaries. We put out all this information. And you're telling me that what I'm doing is shit, and I should probably make videos on doing bicep curls. I'm like, bro, that's not even in my wheelhouse at this point. My training now is not what it was, a fraction of what it used to be. It's longevity and health and, functionality at this point. But I think one of the things that's been important for me that I've seen how fitness is carried over into what we do is it's the discipline. Everyone harps on discipline, right? But the discipline to continue to endure and do the monotonous, boring things long-term to see the result. Because that's what fitness is, right? It's eating the same meals. It's doing this. Your training is not extravagant. Stuff you see on social media now is such bullshit. It really is. Dude, I remember going in, my routines and everything, they were the same, man. You do the same thing over and it's repetitive. It's boring. It's not as exciting as what everyone makes it out to be. The meals you eat are not amazing and tasty and fun, but either that's how business is. It's not exciting all the time. It's hard. It's a daily grind, waking up early, doing the mundane, boring things that require you to move the needle for a long-term goal. And
you nailed it, man. It's this instant gratification. Everyone sees the outcome, and that's what they think they're getting right out of the gate.
That's exactly. It's putting in the long hours, the early mornings. It's that constant do until you get to where the end result is going to happen if you continue to put in that work.
Do you ever struggle with training now?
Yes, we talked about this.
Rhetorical question.
Dude, not long ago. But, I'm pretty good at reigniting that fire. I mean, for me, because I love to train, but I also love to burn myself out. Because training for me now does look different, right? And there's some cool stuff that I do. I like my buddy owns a company called Softleet.
Yeah.
So Brent, awesome guy. His app makes it easy for me. I like using that sometimes, but I'm big on simplicity and efficiency in everything I do. So I like my strength training. I'll do a couple hit style training, and then I'll do some running. And I like to, dude, if I can get it in 45 minutes to an hour, money. I like to get in and out. But yeah, I'm like you, man, because you get so, like, when I go to work, dude, I can lock in and just work. And then I look up and I'm like, I've still got other life to do.
Yeah.
Training being one of the things.
I love it when I see people on the internet. They're like, well, you know, if you don't train before 5, you're not a savage. Or if you don't do this, you suck. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, Dick Lick, let's go walk a week in my shoes and let's see how consistent you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that I've struggled with a lot here recently, just call it in the last few years, is when we were locked in bodybuilding, you were same way when you were competing, I'm sure, you were a fucking machine. You know, it was on the money. Your schedule was what it was. And not only that, but when you were in the gym, it was balls out or you didn't do it.
Yep.
And that's like, just here recently, I've gotten in this mindset where I'm like, okay, I don't have to go down and fucking go balls to the wall every time I go down there and train, because that was actually keeping me from training. Yeah. I'm like, I only got like 40 minutes. It's going to be a shitty workout. I'm just not going to do it. Instead of just going down there and going, all right, dude, just move. Get your heart rate up and move. Get a pump and get the fuck out. It's different now.
It is. And that's one thing I had to take a step back on too, because I like to do everything to the best of my ability and maybe to a fault, right? Mm. I like to excel and I like to push the pace and see the results. And I know with specific types of training, how I can look, how strong I can really be, but that's not the priority for me anymore. So I have to kind of pull back a little bit and realize, hey, if I'm overtrained, I don't perform where I need to, which is in my company. Right. You know, I look at it, it's funny to me, the morning routines, right? Dude, I have to sleep. In order for me and mentally, the mental clarity and the creative that's required within my business, if I miss sleep or I sacrifice sleep for something else, it only hurts me when it comes to business. It does. I can't think as critically. I can't think as creatively, and then things start to slip. So I see these morning routines, and some of my buddies, they go hard, right? They're marshals, they're special operations. It's required of them, their job, but their job is solely focused on that, right? My job is focused on my business. And I see these morning routines where guys are like, if you're not up at 4, cold plunge, you know, sauna, journal. I'm like, that's not a reality. That's a reality for me whenever my business is to a point where I'm not in all of it. That's not going to get me to the next level. When I wake up in the morning, you know, the first thing I do is I log on my computer. I check our social stuff. I respond to people and I start the day. I start work. As soon as I get up and I work.
I have a small morning routine. I started coaching with Rudy. We just had his wife here on an interview. And he's real big into like a morning, I call it a meditation. It is what it is.
I follow this stuff.
But doing that morning priming before I do anything, and I don't do it long, man, 10 minutes.
Yep.
And I started doing it after.
And honestly, I do it with an app now. And I put headphones on. It's just music, like meditation music. And I'll sit there and just think about my day. How do I want it to be? This sort of thing. And then I go down and sit with Yvonne and have coffee for an hour.
So
if I don't get that though,
your whole day,
my whole day's fucked.
That's funny. I think I'll be there someday when my kids are a little older, right? I've got 3 young boys. So when we wake up, we hit the ground running.
Oh yeah.
Dude, so when that's where I was this morning. Gavin, he goes to school in Cape Carteret. It's an hour and 15 minute drive to school. You know, I'll spend 3 to 6 hours on the road a day on top of running business, doing all the other stuff that we do. So, you know, my time is like, if I'm going to meditate, it's in traffic when I'm like, You know,
White
go,
knuckling.
go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad though.
It's not necessarily, man.
You
I've
do where you
different-
can.
different
You do where you
people, you know
can.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And you've got to make your situation work for you. And that's what we've done. I mean, we've turned my car is a mobile learning center, you know, podcasts, audiobooks, make it work for you. That's exactly what
I can't do
think
the
about this.
audiobooks, man. I can't.
Really?
It depends on the moment. If we're on a trip,
I can do them on
put 'em
planes,
in.
but not in
Yeah,
the car.
stuff like that. But just a quick
I love 'em.
drive across town.
Ooh.
I think like part of, so obviously I am not a bodybuilder. I like to run,
Yeah.
and I was a much better distance runner when I was younger. And I think what we're talking about is like the mental and physical strength it takes to run the day to day of a business, and picking between that and doing it the way we used to do it. I used to run miles and miles and miles in the morning. Now I'm like you guys. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this shit. I was doing what you were doing. I was like, it's going to be a 30-minute, 45-minute run. It's not going to be anything. And I wouldn't do it at all.
That's so easy. to
But
do.
I love that you guys have tapped into this, because like dudes like me are like, man, these guys are, you know, they're into it. They're huge, all that stuff. To hear the reality is you face the same business stress, struggles, exhaustion as anyone else.
You know, it's funny to me now too, because people see like the physique, right? We have an extensive foundation or background in that, and
You need it.
You do. And
Yeah.
then that's easy to maintain, right? I couldn't be where I'm at now and running this business and still be a competitive power lifter. It just wouldn't work, man.
Well, I started to, my daughter wanted to get into running, and it was
Yeah.
the same thing. I was like, she was my accountability partner now, and she would get pissed because she could only do a couple miles. And she was going, I was like, dude, I've been running for decades. It's same kind of thing.
Right.
I need it.
Yes.
I need it just like the morning routines. It's part of who I am, but it's different than it used to be.
It
I
is.
still battle with what could be. You ever get that?
Dude.
Like I'll be in the gym, and it'll be a good one, and then I'll just rip my shirt off, and I'm like, okay,
Could've been great.
I could give this one more run, and I could come out of the woodworks. Because I think about it all the time. I'm like, all it would take was one more run, and I could do it. And then like instantly, 15 seconds, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you even
Then
think-
your phone's lighting up
Yeah.
with text
What?
and everything else.
Yeah, man.
Reality slams back.
You do. You look at it. I think about stuff like that sometimes too. And I'm like, man, but then I look at, I mean, I killed myself for it.
Me too.
Like legitimately, like, and it's funny. I talked to my wife about it, and we look at it. I'm like, I was a slug because I was so locked in. I was so good at one thing. I was good at nothing else. I mean, I ate, slept, trained, and recovered.
It's your job. I mean, that was
the
your
job.
business.
It was, and
Yeah.
it was great while I did it. But looking back now, I'm like, I'll never do that again.
that's why we had to hang it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2014, we competed in our last show in Pittsburgh, and I'll never forget it. It was a pro qualifier, and I mean, I'll give myself credit. I deserve to be there, but I was not on that level.
Right.
Like I had competed at a local and state level enough to be there, but that's a whole nother ball game when you're playing on on a national level. It's a whole nother game. And I remember sitting in the backstage in this really fancy hotel in Pittsburgh, and they called my weight class. I got up, and I saw 12 other dudes get up, and we're standing in line, and I'm like, this is it. I knew right then and there before we went out, I'm like, I'll never do this again, because I knew everything that it took for me to get there. I wasn't willing to do more without literally damn near killing myself to compete on the level with these guys. And then we got off the stage, and Yvonne, she just knew. She looked, and she was like, that's it. And I said, yep, that's it. And I almost damn near, like I'm getting goose, but I almost damn near cried because I knew that was the last time I was ever going to do it.
So I think that's important reality check too, right? For you to be able to, at what point, because I see a lot of guys who continue still chasing that thing and never evolve. For me, it was a great way for me to evolve me as an individual.
Sure.
It evolved me
Accomplished
to
it.
the next
Yeah.
thing, right? And you have to be honest and realistic with yourself, because for me, it was a really hard transition too. I remember texting my aunt saying, because I was unhealthy, we're saying, this is all I know. What else is there for me? And dude, and once I was able to step back and see that and assess my life and realize what was important,
Yes.
there were so many other opportunities
Yep.
out there just waiting. And I had built this foundation that had only aided in what I was going to do with the discipline and the willingness to just be able to endure long term.
I mean, I'd imagine it's got to be an isolated
It's very-
lifestyle,
it is.
and to where you guys are at now, and myself, the trade of that isolationism to reach a goal, an objective, versus the business objective where you're feeding families, man. You guys saved the ship by
Yeah.
saying, we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do something.
We'll figure it out.
Like, that's got to be fulfilling. And that is evolution. That's growth, man, as far as I'm concerned. It's
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
about more than me hitting my personal ambition as a
It's
runner.
always been important to me to continue. And as I say, as I got older, continuing to grow, right. And not be stagnant, because I've never wanted to just get to a level and that's the end for me, because I
Same.
think that's death.
Yep.
Right.
It is. We just talked about this in a previous episode with Aniston, and it's where it's like, if you're not growing, you're dying, you're shrinking, or
Absolutely.
you're very cool. And I was wondering how are we going to bring all this into bodybuilding business, your business, and it just works. It's
It does, man.
foundational roots of how we operate as humans, man.
It does. It's good,
Yeah.
man. I think it's important, man. Everybody, you have to have a past and you have to struggle a little bit in order to, you don't grow when things are going well. You grow in the struggle.
Right.
And all of these things that you willingly put yourself into to struggle, it's not a struggle that was a necessity, but you sought that struggle out, got through it. And then you realize, okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? And you continue to build on that. And to me, that's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy that process.
That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it, man.
Well, man, thank you. This was awesome.
Dude.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Zach,
you guys
thanks. Good
having
stuff,
me on
bud.
here. Yeah.
Where can people find you, the business, Extreme Outfitters, that sort of thing?
So we're everywhere. I like to believe. So obviously extremeoutfitters.com, that's our website, but Extreme Outfitters, Instagram, YouTube is a big one. I've got a podcast called The Archery Project, which I'm standing up, which is super cool, which is similar to this. We discuss all things archery. It's a video and audio podcast. And then all of our social channels, man. You can always look me up, Zakk Plocica, Zakk Plocica, on the gram if you want to interact with myself. We're all over.
Awesome. Well, brother, thank you. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy dude, and I appreciate you coming
Thanks,
down.
Zach.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it, man.
Appreciate you guys for having me.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Yeah.